If you've been wanting to attract different clients than the ones you are currently working with, whether you're reinventing the way you teach, whether you have been working with different types of clients and you now want to explore how to work with more advanced clients, more established clients, whatever the reasons are for you wanting to elevate your ideal client profile, today we're going to share the best strategies for starting to upgrade your messaging statements, your messaging strategies to attract the new level of client while honoring the existing clients that you also have. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Musicians Creating Prosperity Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Fabiana Claure. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about what it takes to upgrade your ideal client profile and be able to call in different people than those you have already been working with. Now, this doesn't mean you are undermining your current clientele, but one of the things that I've seen become the biggest obstacles for musicians reinventing their businesses is that they think they need to stick with the clients that they currently have. Maybe you've been working with beginner students most of your life. Maybe you've been working with amateur musicians. Maybe you've been working with people who needed your help at a certain point in their journey. But now you want to elevate your ideal client profile and attract a different level of client. Perhaps someone who's more advanced. Perhaps you no longer want to work with students. Maybe now you want to work with teachers. Whatever it is that you are considering upgrading in your music business, this episode will show you exactly how you can make a gentle transition while still honoring the people you are serving in the present moment. Now, this is important to understand when you shift your business model. And if you've been following this podcast, you probably are very aware that one of the key things we're discussing is how to shift from trading your time for money to building online programs, primarily premium priced online group programs, where you can share your knowledge and allow people to access that in a new model, right? Without having to give all your time away, without having an income ceiling. Now, what I have not really mentioned up until now is what that transition can also allow you to achieve is upgrading or elevating or modifying who you get to work with in the first place. Now, let me give you a bit of context of why I'm doing this episode, because I speak with a lot of musicians who are thinking about upgrading their businesses, but they keep stuck. They keep their vision based on who they are working with in the current moment or who they have been working up until this point in their life. And that, in a way, holds them captive to dreaming bigger and expanding the vision of what's possible because they think that they have to adapt to the clients that they've been serving up until this moment. And while I've helped many clients do that and reinvent themselves while still containing and keeping the clients that they have been working, I've also helped many clients pivot and actually attract different clients that they have not worked with in the past, or maybe they did it in a very isolated fashion, just one here or there, very isolated incidents. But I show them how to actually upgrade not just the business model, but also the client profile. And the good news is that when you are clear on not just how you want to work, but who you want to serve, and in which way do you feel your newly invented model could fill a gap and solve a problem for a specific type of client, you open the door to dreaming in a way that there's no limitations. There's a lot of fear that I notice that musicians have when it comes to making these types of changes, thinking, oh, I don't really know if I reinvent my model or I switch from trading time for money or I switch from doing one-on-one lessons to doing group lessons. What if my clients don't follow along? What if they don't want this change? What if they're not willing to follow my leadership and adapt to this new model? So what I like to say is, well, perhaps the clients that you have up until this point are no longer going to be your ideal clients in this new model. Perhaps now, as you reinvent yourself and refine your business model, it's time to start calling in a different level of client, maybe a client who has a different problem that you can solve now. And that opens up so many possibilities for reinvention without any sort of boundaries or limitations. If you've been at a point in your career where you're considering changing what you do, remember that you could also change who you serve and even the problem that you solve. It can evolve with you. Just because you've been working in a certain way all your career, maybe you've been teaching young students. I see this a lot with music teachers. You've been working with beginner, intermediate level, advanced level students, especially for those of you who have been teaching many, many years. Even if you've built a music school, perhaps, or you have an academy, or you have already an online business, you may have developed this assumption that the students you're working with, that you've been serving for years, sometimes decades, are going to be the same ones that you're going to work with in this new model. And the idea is that actually that doesn't have to be the case. It can be the case, but it doesn't have to be the case. When you reposition your services, and if you follow the frameworks that we teach in this podcast and in all the work we do with musicians, you'll have a way of consolidating your knowledge and sharing with people how you can help them achieve a certain result through the collective knowledge that you've built over your lifetime, not just by doing one thing, by teaching them about one thing, but really by showcasing how your collective experience, your perspective can help people change their life and improve their journey, whatever they're trying to solve, whether it's music, whether it's performance related anxiety, whether it's getting into colleges, whatever. So the good news is that when you reinvent your brand, when you reinvent the way you share your knowledge and you show people all the things you can actually do for them beyond what you have been doing in the past, then perhaps that newly reinvented packaged brand that you're creating could be more suited for a different type of client. Maybe someone who has that level of challenges and who's looking for the support. I like to think that effective marketing, when you are trying to think about how to put yourself in the eyes of your ideal clients, marketing isn't about creating desire in other people and trying to push for them to want what you have to offer. The art of effective marketing is the actual art of tapping into the existing desires that your clients already have, meaning putting yourself in their operating reality and understanding what they are looking for right now. And you can only do that if you can have opportunities to interact with them and you have ways of understanding in their words what their challenges are, what their frustrations are. So in a way, the best strategies for reinventing yourself and understanding how to better attract your new level of clients will come as a byproduct of actually having conversations with them and understanding what they're looking for, serving them, researching them, and looking at their existing operating reality. Now, just because you have an operating reality that you may not necessarily want to, let's say, sign up for this new offer that you're creating, doesn't mean that your ideal clients wouldn't sign up for it, right? And that's another misconception that I see a lot, thinking that because you probably wouldn't necessarily value what you have to offer because you are not looking for that, you may think, well, I don't know that my ideal clients or these new clients would actually want what I have to offer. Well, your ideal clients have a completely different operating reality than you do. So you need to think about how can you put yourself in their shoes and really think about what their needs are right now and what are the ways in which they're trying to solve problems, and specifically, how are they missing the mark right now? What are they doing wrong in the pursuit of solving that problem? If you are trying to create the right type of messaging, ideally you are aware of the different levels of awareness that your clients have. Some clients who are very, very far away from being ready to work with you, they may not even be aware that they have a problem. So they're not looking for a solution. They don't care about a solution. They don't even care that they have a problem. They don't even realize they have a problem. As the saying goes, ignorance is bliss, right? So therefore, you need to think, okay, those are not the people that I want to speak to directly in my marketing. I need to speak to people who already know they have a problem, who are aware that that problem is affecting their lives, and who are actively looking for a solution, and even who may already have considered some options, some solutions, and are still trying to find the right one that matches their values, their desires. Those are the people that you want to start thinking about. What are they looking for? Hey, quick pause here. If you are a musician, music educator, or creative entrepreneur who's built a successful business, I need to ask you something. Do you feel trapped by your own success? Maybe you have steady clients, consistent revenue, maybe even a team, but you're working more hours than ever. You can't take time off because everything depends on you. You've become the bottleneck in your own operation. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. You're not failing, you're just succeeding without the right systems. The skills that got you here aren't the same ones that you need to scale. I know because I've been there. I founded my music academy in 2011, and by 2016, I had built the systems to manage it completely remotely on autopilot. That success led to my online business, which replaced my university salary and gave me the freedom to build a lifestyle business on my own terms. I've also helped countless musicians around the world do the exact same thing. win back their time while exponentially scaling their income on their own terms. That's why I'm hosting my free Autopilot Your Music Business Masterclass to show you exactly how you can do this too. Go to musiciansprofitmasterclass.com and secure your spot right now. Imagine having the freedom to focus on what you love the most while your business thrives on autopilot. That's exactly what we'll build together. Now, back to today's episode. Again, marketing isn't trying to convince people about things they don't need or want. Marketing is about finding and attracting the people who are already looking for something because they know they have a problem and they need the solution. And it's tapping into that type of narrative and tapping into their operating reality. So when you can identify who these people are, you will be able to quickly connect and attract them because they will see themselves in you. They will feel heard. They will feel seen. They will feel understood as long as you do an effective job at putting themselves in their shoes. So I'll share with you an example of how this happens a lot in the conversations that I have with musicians. I hear many times musicians say, well, Fabiana, in your case, you can find great clients that are willing to invest a premium in your services because your business proposal, your offers center primarily around helping musicians win back their time and increase their income and restructure the way they work so that they can have more freedom in their lives. Who wouldn't want that? People would invest whatever they need to invest to create that type of result in their lives. But I only teach music, they would say. I only teach piano, or I only teach about performance anxiety, or I only know how to talk about this and this and this. I don't know that anyone would be willing to pay a premium for just learning music, or just playing the piano, or just playing the guitar, or just producing albums, or just finding gigs, whatever it is, right? That offer necessarily is not what we would consider an offer that is designed to create more abundance or more wealth, directly at least. And what I like to answer to that is, here's the thing. Just because you right now may be looking for a way to grow your business, to scale your income, to put things on autopilot, to streamline the way you work, that is your top challenge right now. That may be your top priority, to win back your time, to raise your income, and to find a way to work smarter, not harder. However, your ideal clients may be in a different operating reality. They may not necessarily be looking for a way to raise their income, to win back their time. Maybe you're working with people who have their financial needs met, who have plenty of time. You can think about, for example, amateur musicians, people who are empty nesters, for example, baby boomers who are maybe trying to find a new sense of belonging and community and reconnect with their creativity because their kids are out of the house. Maybe they're on their way to retirement and they have all this time on their hands, and maybe even financially they're kind of established already. That's not their primary concern, but what they are is feeling lonely or empty or creatively deprived. They lack of purpose and meaning in their lives. That's when someone like you, if you are a music educator or a performer, can come in and fill a void that is, eroding their soul right now. And you can come in and create an incredible community, offer a program that would give them access to your knowledge, that would allow them to connect with each other, build community, and they would be able to, and willing to pay a premium, whatever it is you want to charge, to have access to that type of experience, because that is their operating reality. That is what they care about. They don't care about creating more income. They don't care about winning back their time. Those things are fine. They have other pain points, right? I remember when my son was born, I always share this story as a different analogy. I became a mom, 11 years ago for the first time, and he would not sleep through the night, which is typical as newborns, right? And I remember feeling so desperate to understand what it would take to get my newborn to sleep through the night that I hired a sleep coach. Like, I literally invested a premium to find someone who could help me understand the strategies for effectively guiding my baby to sleep and helping him stay asleep, and what the best practices were, from bedtime routines to how to do things throughout the day, how to manage nap times. That was my operating reality. As a new mom, I did not care about anything else than just sleeping for, 4 or 5 hours straight. I remember the first 6 hour stretch that I had of sleeping 6 hours straight felt like an incredible luxury, such an accomplishment, because for months I had not been sleeping through the night. I couldn't sleep more than 2 3 hours without getting woken up by the baby, etc. So just to give you an example, I paid premium for someone to show me how to get my baby to sleep. Again, this is why when you think about your offer, as long as you understand the value that it has, and for who's the person that really is looking for that right now, you should have no issues repositioning your services, reinventing yourself, and presenting maybe a different offer that you haven't in the past, as long as you understand this process. It comes down to, again, understanding where in the buyer's journey are your ideal clients going to be. How aware must they be not only of your offers, but also of the fact that they have a problem and that they are looking to solve that problem, right? And then number two, what is their operating reality? What are they looking for? And what would they value in order to be a good fit for your offers? And if you can answer those two main key questions and considerations, that will fuel your ideas for creating content, for even seeking out the right people, maybe finding partners that can open the doors to their own communities. That will give you an idea of how to connect with the right people. Another example is I have a client who's launching a program for expecting moms and babies. And it was so interesting because we were in a coaching call with my clients thinking about like how to support her with some ideas on how to position her services and find the right type of clients. In the past, she has worked with young children, and yes, she's worked with babies in a setting with like in-person groups, etc., with parents. But she's really trying to go even a step further, like in a step back, actually working with expectant mothers and moms of newborns, and really showing them how music can play a role in their cognitive development and their ability to connect and bond and just be part of like a musical upbringing. And it was so interesting because as we were looking at, well, how do you find these types of clients, where would these people be hanging out, the answer came from one of our other clients as we were kind of all doing a brainstorming session, who had also initially played around with a similar idea of creating something for very, very young kids and babies and newborns. And it's not about looking for just where normal, like other musicians would hang out, right? It's about looking for places that could be gatekeepers for these ideal clients. And in this case, we looked at like people where you can have nursing courses or breastfeeding courses like La Leche League, or looking for partnerships with physicians and offices that are dealing with expectant mothers, prenatal yoga classes, like anywhere that would have moms who are at that stage in their lives, right? Where they're either expecting or just had a baby, that don't have to be the traditional places that you would think would be like places where musicians hang out. That's not where you would find these clients. It's about looking at, okay, where are these new moms or expectant moms like going out and about in their day-to-day lives, and how can you put yourself in their operating reality and understand what they're looking for, right? And just positioning yourself there, or finding partners and strategic people that can open the doors to their communities who could have that type of ideal client. So there's always a way. When you really understand who do you really want to bring in, you need to remember that it's understanding where are these people, how can you connect the messaging that your marketing should entail in a way that understands what they want, right? You're not trying to push for what you want them to want, but you want to tap into what they already want and show them how your solution is going to provide something that they have been missing all along. What is it about your approach or the way you solve the problem that can show them a solution that they've been missing all along? If you can do that, then you will have no problems reinventing your business, reinventing your ideal client, and developing the strategies to effectively attract your dream clients, whichever model you want to adopt. Now, of course, I hope that if you're listening to this podcast, you're already in the mode of thinking about optimizing your business using the online platforms that are available, and no longer just limiting yourself to one-on-one lessons or to gigging or to trying to sell low ticket memberships that require a massive amount of advertising spend and infrastructure and serving, hundreds and thousands of customers at once. If you're looking at the streamlined model that I really recommend, which is starting with a higher ticket program and starting with a lower amount of clients to begin with, but giving them a premium experience, taking them through a journey of transformation that can be incredibly meaningful, impactful, and high touch, that comes at a premium price, right? Typically, my clients charge anywhere from 2 to 6K for like a 6-month program. Average, I would say $4,000 to $5,000. And we have many examples of clients who have done that. If you haven't seen any, you can just search in these podcast archives. We have like different examples. Look for Diego Alonso's interview. Look for Mike Art's interview. Look for Lenore Oren's interview. Look for Megan McPhee's interview. Like I've interviewed several of our clients in this series where most of them were just charging hourly, and we go from charging $80, $90 an hour to charging $5,000 for 6 months in a group setting, and completely winning back their time from teaching 25, 30 hours a week to teaching 1 to 5 hours a week. So if you are new and just jumping into this episode and just like, what is this even real? Of course, feel free to dive in and look for those episodes. But if you are not new and you've been listening all along, hopefully today's episode will give you some pointers into how you can upgrade not just your model, but also your ideal client. You don't have to settle for who you have. You can upgrade, you can reinvent yourself, and maybe diversify your offerings to attract different levels of clients depending on the offer you want to promote. I hope this helps. Let me know your takeaways. And if this is being helpful, please leave us a review so that we can expand our visibility, reach more musicians, and together build a movement of creating prosperity. Let me know your takeaways. Until next time, let's prosper together.